guys, we're back with Dirty Change. I am your host, comedian Rosie Tran, with my lovely co-host, Tommy Pistol.
Hi.
Today we have a very special guest, Teresa Lo. She's a writer for Hustler and also a boudoir model, a stand-up comedian. What do you not do?
I do a little bit of everything, yeah. And apparently I was in a music video recently, so now I'm a video host.
I know we have our third co-host, Miss Doggy. Who's trying to get into Teresa's lap. Okay. So, Tommy, did you get any requests this week from any listeners? Any questions?
I didn't get this week, and that might have been my fault because I didn't.
Didn't ask.
Yeah, I might have forgot.
I think we had some questions last week that went unanswered.
Well, the one particular was about with the kids. Have you talked with them? And I have not had that talk yet. I will when I do. Everyone will know. Last week I think was one of the questions that I answered was how do I get into porn or what do you recommend?
I don't know. Did someone ask you that?
Somebody did ask me that. So if I didn't answer it last time, I'll answer it this time.
Do you have a lot of people contacting you like, Tommy, how do I get into porn?
I have a lot of men contacting me that are usually from India. And they're like, there's no porn here. How do I do it? I was like, first, you got to move. But my best advice, and definitely at this point, being there's so many avenues you can put content
Is the internet censored in India?
I don't know if they have porn there. Like
even you could just make your own stuff, right?
Well,
yeah, I also get clips from Indian women who are like, I don't do the voice. I'm sorry.
I think it's illegal there though, because even Bollywood doesn't allow you to like kiss and all that stuff.
Really?
So I think
Yeah,
the government
they're very
regulates.
strict
Is
on
there a
it.
Hustler India?
I don't think so.
So it's Hustler only US. There's no, because I know there's like Playboy Europe and there's like other.
I actually don't know. That's terrible that I don't know about the company,
don't know a
but
lot.
like I don't know.
The worst,
Yeah,
the worst
whatever.
Hustler writer.
I'm like, other countries. What? America first. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Build the wall. Build the wall around Hustler.
Around porn. Those aspiring Indian porn stars, you get out. They can't come in. No, I'm just kidding. It's terrible. Terrible.
So my advice for anybody trying to get in the business, honestly, there's so many avenues out there with like OnlyFans and Clips for Sale and Pornhub Premium where you could upload your content and actually make money off it. And I mean, Pornhub is known for like when they started out, they stole a lot of content, which a lot of veterans in the industry and producers and directors hate them. But they got to a point, it was like, well, we can't have everyone hate us forever. So here's a chance for you guys to make money. So I think every 1,000 views, it's like
monetized, right? Like YouTube.
Yeah, it's something. So I know, I mean, if you really work hard and make a name for yourself and actually show that you have experience and content, and if your numbers are definitely up there, it's a lot easier to get somebody to work with you as long as everything's legit and tested and stuff. So getting in porn, like I almost don't tell people, like, how do I do it? I was like, you could do it like this, you could do it like that. And honestly, starting out like that, I think is the best way because you really get a hands-on without the pressure of like, can I do this?
Yeah. What about writing? How did you become a writer for Hustler?
Well, it's very funny. Craigslist changed everybody's life. I was just looking for writing work, and then I was looking on Craigslist, and I applied, and I got it. So I was like, oh, okay, this is fine.
How long have you been doing that?
For 4 years. I think it's actually getting close to 5 years at
Whoa.
this point. Yeah, so I've been there a while. Yeah.
So I'm going to sound completely... Tommy, I'm like the worst sex education podcaster because I'm completely clueless, right? I have seen Hustler magazine and I've looked through it, but I have never actually read the articles.
Oh no!
Just the pictures.
Just the picture.
You say
I'm
the
like
opposite of everyone.
I'm like a dude, right? Or do the dudes actually? Or do you guys actually read the articles?
I think Honest to God, I might have read a few, but their comics are fucking hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is that like in-house?
so that's one thing that
Who
we
does
do.
that?
Yeah, so it's like we do a monthly
I'm the
comedian
worst. I'm
or
the worst.
No, but we do. It's like we're one of the few magazines that actually profile comedians. So every month we do like a comedian profile.
Is it always a guy though?
No.
Okay.
Recently, I actually interviewed Sally Mullins, and she's so amazing, right? And so I interviewed her. And so, yeah, they do. There was also Nikki Glazer did it this year. Margaret Cho, Natasha Leggeri's done it before.
So there's a lot of women.
Yeah, there's a lot of women.
Oh
It's just more about who wants to, be in it. Because sometimes we'll ask people and they will say no because they're afraid to be affiliated. But it's actually a really cool experience. Like, you can say whatever you want. And we always
freedom of speech.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's a really
Larry
cool
Flint,
profile.
man. I give him fucking props.
Have you
and
ever met Larry Flint?
I have not. No, I've been to the building, but I have never met him. I would
Okay.
like to, but yeah, I have never.
I've been in so many Hustler movies. It's insane. It's a great company, and I'm glad they're still around. I mean, I know a lot has changed, but they're still shooting, and I think I'm fucking every time to say I worked for Hustler, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah,
So
we're the top
let
3.
them know. Nice.
I don't know why that made us laugh. What are the top 2?
Well, it's really funny because whenever I tell people Hustler, some people know what I'm talking about, but other people are like, is that Playboy? Playboy? They always say Playboy first. And I'm like, oh. And then sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll start reminiscing about Playboy stories. And I'm like, I don't work there. I was just like, why are you telling me that?
It's another magazine.
It's another magazine.
Completely different company. What are the other 2?
It would be Playboy and Penthouse. But I actually think
Yeah.
it might be number 2. I don't know. But I think Playboy is more popular.
I'm sorry. I think
it's okay.
I think I confused Penthouse and Hustler. I'm the worst.
Well, I'm sure the naked woman. Wait,
You're
what?
just looking at the pictures. You weren't reading the articles.
Sorry. She's actually been quiet the first 4 episodes.
Oh.
I think we hit a pitch.
We hit a pitch. Too much high-pitched squealing over Hustler.
Larry Flint came. I remember one year it was an honor. He came out to AVNs and he gave a whole speech on freedom of speech and everything, and we're gonna fight for this and stick around. And I mean, it's people like him that keep our industry alive, honestly.
And kept free speech alive,
Yeah.
really. Because I remember watching that movie when it came out, and I was like, he really changed the United States.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what would have happened if he didn't fight for freedom of speech?
The People versus Larry Flint, right?
Yeah. So it's like, it's not even just porn. It's just the idea that we can say what we want to say.
Yeah, he
Nice.
goes hard against government and everything, and that's he doesn't pull punches, and that's where it's like, fuck yeah.
And not
we
only
need
that, like what he did for comedy too.
Yeah.
It's like just because of his fight, we can actually do satire and stuff and make fun of public figures
And
if you
it's
can prove
not,
it.
you can't get arrested.
Yes, exactly.
Satire is the only thing that's protected, right?
Exactly.
Everything else is slander. As long as you're making fun,
And people know you're making fun.
correct.
Yes.
It's not illegal.
So thank you, Larry Flint.
Thank you, Larry.
That's really, really awesome. You also model too.
I do. I started doing that recently, but I just joined Model Mayhem. So I think I'm like a fake model because I'm a Model Mayhem model.
No,
I'm not
you're
like
a model.
whatever.
You're a model.
Wait. Model Mayhem,
The website where it's just like you meet photographers and you take pictures. So
Okay.
I've just been, and then I just post them on Instagram. So I guess I'm an Instagram model. I'm one of those women.
Are you an influencer?
I don't know.
She has a lot of followers, and her pictures are very, very beautiful and sexy.
Well, thank
Yes,
you.
I saw some. They are.
Thank you so much. But I feel like
Do you get a lot of creepy comments from people?
I do.
I get dick pics. Do you get dick pics?
You know what's funny?
I like how Tommy gets dick pics.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a dick pic in like 10 years, Tommy. I'm jealous.
I get weird comments, but no dick pics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Tommy
weird.
gets dick
Yeah,
pics.
you get dick pics.
What do they say?
They're like, do you think my dick's good enough to be in porn? I was like,
Wait, is yours a job interview picture? It's not a sexual thing?
Yeah, it's just like straightforward, pants down.
I love
No
I love the
introduction.
voice. I love the voice. The voices.
Have you felt any backlash or anything with some of the stuff you posted? And you're like, it's
Oh,
obvious I am
definitely.
fucking modeling. What's going on?
I mean, I did a comedy festival like a few weeks ago, and the owner of the club, like, he was so creepy about it. He
Oh
was
my
like,
God, she was telling me the story.
yes, and he was like, everybody look at her Instagram. And he pulled it up, and then like
On his phone on stage?
Yeah,
Okay, you
not
didn't
on
tell me this
stage, but
part.
in the lobby. So I was like walking. So this was like right away walking in.
Ew.
And I walked in. Yeah, it was so
Hashtag creepy.
And then like another male comedian who I just met, he like pulled it up. He's like, damn titties. And I was like, this is very uncomfortable, right? And there's another female comic like with me, and like, you could tell that the owner, he just like was thinking way too much about this Instagram stuff. And so another male comic like called him out on it. He's like, you got really excited when Teresa walked in the room. And I think that and so I think he was originally trying to make me feel bad or weird, but then it got called out on him that he was being weird, he switched his attention to the female comic, the other one, and she had just met him that day. She just walked in with me.
She just walked in.
Yeah.
She's like,
She's not even
hey, look at her
posting
tits.
Exactly. So like this, like the club owner was like, "Hey, you post a lot of lingerie pictures. Why don't you give it to me and then I'll sell it online?" And I just looked at him like, "You're so stupid and gross."
Give
Like
your pictures or give the lingerie?
the lingerie.
You
He
should
wanted
be
to
like,
sell
"You
my
can fucking
panties."
buy
so
it, you
gross.
creep.
Yeah, he was such a creep. But because he like they called him out on being a creep to me, he moved on to her. He's like, "I'll sell her panties," and she's sitting there like, "I am just here." And then he like,
where's the bathroom?
yeah, and then on that,
Sell her panties?
Yes.
And her panties?
Yes.
Who wants panties? Everyone's getting panties.
he doubled down with her. He was like, "There's prostitution all over the OC," and she's just like, "I'm just here," and he just would not stop. So it's like whatever weird speech he wanted to give to me, he just moved it all to
Oh
her.
my
and she's
gosh,
just like,
that's-
"What the hell is
This
this?"
is hilarious because it's so awful.
It's so
It's
awful.
fucking outdated and
It's
stupid.
crazy. And it's kind of like, I'm here to do a fucking like set. Like, I don't need to hear this gross thing. And then that other girl, she was just like, why am I hearing this too?
And then
so,
you're like, hey, you got to go on stage.
yeah, exactly. I got on stage with like the creepiest owner.
The sad part is I would be trying to sell my underwear. I'd be like, do you want to buy mine? And he'd be like, hers.
No, but if you're gonna sell your
Not
underwear, you
you.
sell
No,
your
no,
own.
no, behind
Her.
You
But-
sell your
yes.
own underwear.
Her.
He doesn't deserve a cut. Why is he involved? It's like he's been
Yeah.
why?
Well, maybe he knows a lot of other creepy guys that would buy underwear.
It would be all him.
I'm sure
he
it's
would
for
hoard
him.
the money. I'm sure
was
all the underwear
literally-
would go to him.
It
There
was
would be
literally, he's like, I know someone who wants to buy your underwear.
and it's
me.
him. Yeah, it's all him. He was so creepy.
I swear I'll bring him to them.
creepy.
I'll take care of the shipping and handling.
Yes.
Don't
Which
worry.
is to his house. Yes, exactly.
It's just him.
It's just him.
And then he's sitting in the car like, it worked again.
Yeah, he's so creepy. And then the next day,
Oh my God, so creepy.
the next
Okay.
day I see him, and he could tell I didn't like it, and so he apologized to me.
How
Apologized.
could he tell? How could he
so
tell?
he waited till you were alone, and he was like, you know what? That was really just, I'm sorry. I'm a really good guy.
Well, what-
As he's like,
yeah, looking at
So-
my So and then I told him, I was like, well, I first actually believed he was apologizing, so I was like, oh, what you said was inappropriate, and he's like, hey, you should expect people to talk to you like that if you post pictures like that. And I was like,
what a
the
dick.
fuck? So he doubled down or tripled down at this point, and then later I asked the other comic.
even in his apology.
It's like, yeah, and the apology. So I was like, well, fuck this guy. But then I tried to ask him, I was like, so, okay, if that's your justification that I was asking for it, why did you talk to the other girl like that? And he just was like, oh, I gotta go talk to my wife and kid, and like ran away. Yes.
Oh, what
Yes.
a pussy.
Because he like clearly proved that it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with just what a
I
jerk
think I
he
know
is.
who he votes for. Fucking.
It was in Orange
Yes.
County.
I,
Sorry, OC.
Yeah.
I'm resisting hitting the table.
You actually have been hitting the table a lot.
I'm realizing
I've
I'm
been
hitting.
watching you, and you actually have been hitting the table a
I'm
lot.
touching.
Teresa's mic might need to be cleaned up. The audio. I never realized, Tommy, how aggressive table hitting you are.
I'm sitting on my hands.
Oh my god.
I think that's awful. It's hard enough being a female comic and being judged, I think, by the way we look versus it's so annoying. I remember I performed at the Comedy Store one time, and I was standing there, and this guy came up to me, and he's like, well, you don't seem like you'd be very funny. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well,
What the fuck?
Yeah, so
this
rude.
happens, right? So I was like, okay, well, what kind of person seems like they'd be funny to you? And apologies to this lady, I don't know her. He pointed to a very large African American woman and was like, well, she seems like she'd be really funny. I'm like, okay. So this guy was just all stereotypes, right?
And then not only that, felt like he had to tell you what he thought. He didn't need to tell you. Yeah.
It's kind of like when audience members come up to you after the show and they're like, oh my God, you were so funny. You were okay, but you were really funny. It's like, you don't need
You
can
can tell
still
us.
compliment her and not insult me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. People are awful.
Or vice versa. But I think there's this sphere where you're a performer. I don't know if this happens in your industry where people just feel like you're a public person and they can just say whatever. Obviously send you dick pics. Obviously do
God.
whatever.
That's true.
You're like, I'm still a person. Like I'm not rich enough for you to be that mean to me.
Yeah, like it still hurts.
Like
Yes.
I'm not like Angelina Jolie or Donald Trump where like I'm getting paid a lot of money to take your like blatant insults. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the porn. I've heard some nightmare stories of fans just going out of their way just because they didn't get the response they wanted.
Yes.
And they're
People
like,
are
I
crazy.
buy your videos. Bullshit.
Yeah, nobody buys videos.
Stop right there.
Can you bring it so I can autograph it just to check with the full receipt?
I got a funny story about autographs.
Okay.
But one particular story that will always stand out is a girl was being nice and he just kept asking and asking and she's like, look,
Like what kind of stuff is he asking?
I think he just kept asking for free stuff. Can you send me pics? I'm
Yeah,
such a
so
big
weird.
I'm your biggest fan. How can you not want to send me
Give
stuff?
him free stuff. He's
Yeah.
such a fan. He wants free
And this
stuff.
motherfucker went out of his way to find out where her parents live
Oh my gosh.
and mailed
awful.
her boxes of her porn.
Crazy. That's crazy.
To her parents?
Yes.
Yeah, just
That's
to like
crazy.
embarrass or shame or some garbage.
So
but
obviously you're not her biggest fan?
No.
You're her
not
biggest asshole
anymore.
stalker?
I guess.
Yes. And
It's
a stalker.
fucking crazy.
Yes. People are crazy.
Gosh.
So a quick autograph story.
No slamming on the table, Tommy.
I need like mittens or something.
So for the listeners who are like, what the heck is going on? Our lovely and wonderful producer mentioned that there was a lot of table slamming on several past episodes. So I am putting a ban on Tommy Pistol hand stomping. Autograph
There
story.
you go. Yes. Okay.
So it was for Burning Angel, the movie Repenetrator. It was a spoof of Reanimator, the horror movie. So somebody
You love your spoofs.
I do. Yeah.
I love the titles.
So they're like, "Oh, can we get autographs?" And they wanted from Joanna, and they're like, "Well, you Tommy, you signed one too." So, I made a chicken hand. Like I traced my hand, I drew a whole thing, and signed it. And he got that, and he mailed it back, saying, "I don't want a chicken hand order. I didn't want it from him. I wanted it from her."
Tommy, please do not sign the merchandise, touch it, or come near it.
Don't look at it.
I also don't know why he'd send it back and not just throw it away.
But
like, why
that's
did he
how
tell you?
like hardcore. He was like, "No, no, not today." Back in the mail.
So he had to pay for shipping and handling to return it.
He wanted to send you a
Twice,
message.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Send you a message.
he got his point across.
Jeez, people are crazy.
Sorry, Tommy. Your autograph is worth nothing.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever had it where someone you've met in real life, they tell you creepy stuff? Like, it's one thing if it's a stranger and you're like, okay, the person doesn't think I'm a human. But someone
Yeah.
but what about people you've actually like interacted with and they write creepy stuff to you or they say creepy requests? Like, that's happened to me where I'm like, I met you. Why are you writing
know
about my
you.
boobs
Yeah.
on like, I'm like, I know you. It's weird.
I think I'm trying to recall. I remember a parent that I think I recently like became acquaintance with from our kids. And they're like, "Hey, we've seen your work," you know. And I was just like, "Man, I'm gonna take my kids." I was like, it should be normal, but it did feel weird because I'm
Never,
very
yeah.
like protective and obviously quiet about it when meeting new people. And I mean, if they find out that you're admitting to me then that you watched porn. But I guess to go to the next mile and be like, "We loved it." And it's kind of like,
You're like, do you want this DVD with the chicken hand on it?
Exactly.
I got a bunch that.
I can get you some really good stuff that's been returned by angry fans if you want it.
I should have. It was so long ago. I wish I kept it. I really
What did you do with the chicken hand DVD?
I'm sure they were like in the trash. Or we'll just try to push it off to the next person.
Oh my God. But what happened like after, like with that, the parents, right? Do you ever see them again, or is it just you ran away for good and got away?
I mean, we might.
I was like, don't look at me.
We'll see him. It's never the same. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's
They made it
kinda
weird.
like-
That's why I
yeah.
don't want to watch your stuff, Tommy.
I appreciate.
So I'm friends with Tommy from the podcast. I think I got a glimpse on accident because one of your fans retweeted something and added me, and I was like, no. I don't want to know. I'm friends with him. I don't want to know.
I feel like I'm pretty neutral to porn. Maybe because I've been writing for it. So if I've seen
I'm
people,
neutral,
I could
but
still...
not my buddy. Not my
Yeah,
buddy,
I don't
Tommy the
know.
table slammer chicken hand.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like I don't feel weird, but I don't know if they'll feel weird. So I never say anything. But like if I watch it, I don't feel like weird.
You know what made
with
me feel really
people.
weird was Sally, our friend
Oh,
Sally Mullins, who's a
interesting.
comedian
Okay.
and also a performer as well. Is I knew that she did, adult stuff, and I was totally cool with that. But then she was like, "Oh, do you want some?" And she like sent it to me, and I don't know. I'm very open. I've talked about a lot of sexual things on multiple podcasts, and I've experienced things. I'm not like a prude, but I don't know. It just like it was just weird. It was just weird for me, and I still love Sally and I respect her. I didn't lose any respect for her, but it like shocked me.
Oh, because you actually did see it. Like she sent the file and actually opened
She
it.
sent the file and I opened it and
you
I
did
watched
open
a
it.
couple minutes and I was like, oh, okay.
That's Sally's face. That's
You know what
inside
it is?
Sally.
I think
Okay.
I felt like a pervert.
Oh, interesting.
I think I felt like a perv.
I know I like to keep stuff separate. So if like I'm somewhere with my kids and if someone recognizes, like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, let's talk about it. It's just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's the same with comedy. I don't like to tell people I do comedy unless they met me through comedy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I get a lot of people that are like, oh, tell me a joke then, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I hate that.
I told my husband that, and he's like, no, because we went to a wedding back home in Indiana where he's from. And he's like, oh, no one. And he was like shocked that people would do that. And I was like, no, people are really weird. And he's like, no, I don't think they would. I was like, no, they're really weird. We went to this wedding. He ran into an old childhood friend. His friend's like, oh, what do you do? And my husband's like, oh, she's a comedian. And he immediately went into oh, well, you look funny. And my husband's jaw dropped and he's like, wow, that really happens. And like, he didn't think it would, like the first person we met was like, hey, you're a fucking comedian. Well, tell me a joke. Well, I don't know. It's always the guy that thinks he's funny. He's trying to out-funny you for his weird egoic.
It's never nice. Like you can always
It's
tell when
never
it's
nice.
nice. Yeah, you can
never
always
nice.
tell.
Yeah.
It's almost like if someone were to tell me, "Oh, I saw your Instagram, I like your pictures." The way they say it completely changes it. Sometimes you're just being like nice and like, "Oh, it's not that weird." But when there's a tone,
you can tell
there's a tone. Yeah.
So it's so weird, Tommy. I never get it from women. Women are always like, oh, wow, that's really cool. You're a comedian. Like, tell me about it. It's always a guy, and it's always a specific guy. You wouldn't do this. There's a certain type of guy. It's the guy that thinks he's a comedian. Well, everyone thinks, oh, your mother. It's always like the guy that's
It's
like
the jock
Yeah.
guy
the
who
jockey, like
I
He's going
always
back to
have
high
the locker
school.
room laughing.
Yeah.
I'm fucking funny.
He's the high school bully essentially
Yeah.
because he's trying to talk to you like a high school bully will. Because he's not trying to talk to you like a person. He's trying to like alpha you or something.
It's like an alpha thing. It's like, and I never knew how to deal with it. But what those guys want is they want, oh, you fucking mother. And like, oh, damn, she really is a comic. Like, that's what they want. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. That's what they want. They want you to be like, oh, tell me a joke, your mother. And like, and oh, damn. Like, that's what they want. And that's not what comedians do, people.
No.
That's not what we do.
But now
So,
I
yeah.
kind of want that to happen. Now I want to see this. Yo, mother! Like I would just love to just have that interaction.
say your mother? Say it. Come on,
Do it! I have a response. I've been thinking for
I'm telling you, that's what they want. They don't want a real joke from your act. They want you to talk shit to them, and then they're like, damn, because that's the type of comedy, I'm using very loose air quotes, that they do to make all their buddies at the, whatever, the trucking company or whatever laugh. I'm sorry. That's the type of guy. I'm sorry. It's always the same type of guy.
There was a time
You're laughing like guys like that from New Jersey. Or New York.
Yeah. Everyone knows them. Yeah. Like
everywhere. It's not even Jersey. Everywhere.
it's just
men.
You go knock on the door and be like, "Hey, I'm a comedian." Be like, "Get the fuck out of here! Make me laugh." Hey, see your mother. And you're like, "I got your mail by accident." I remember a guy who was like, it was in a group or something, and he was there, obviously, and I believe it was at the porn convention. He was like, "You're a porn star, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got a big cock?" And I was like, "I don't." And the look of like confusion, he's like, "Wait, what?" But how? And I was like, "All right, goodbye."
You got a big cock? Yeah, let me smack you in the face with it.
Show me your cock, bro. Show me your cock.
Probably didn't want you to show it to them.
Yeah, and then
that's what they want.
Yeah, they're
that's
so
what those
crazy.
Guys want.
Well, I was in this comedy class, and it was like a daytime comedy class. And I told people, I was like, "Oh, I'm a writer for Hustler." Well, a guy actually went out and bought a copy of Hustler, brought it in, and had me sign it. And I was kind of like, okay, but it's also like, we're in the daytime. You're bringing in porn into this classroom. I feel really strange, But I was like, I guess I'm kind of flattered, but it was just weird. I was like, I don't know what to take at that, but I was like, whatever. And that's like, as a writer, I can only imagine what performers get.
Oh God, yeah,
dick pics, apparently.
Yeah, dick pics.
I'm
and dick rolls.
sure female performers get dick pics. Oh,
yes.
Somebody started posting the dick pics, and they got tired because it was so many. And you're like, "Look at all the dick pics I got." And then as it just kept coming and coming, and she kind of fueled the fire, and then it was like, "I don't even have time to post all the dick pics you're sending me."
On my personal life.
Yeah. And it's like, you guys are liking it.
now.
It's like backfiring on me.
She acknowledged my dick.
Yeah. That's probably what they want. They just want acknowledgement.
They want a hug.
Yeah.
They need a hug.
Yes. Which at the time we were like, okay, when that happens, you're like, okay, I can kind of get it, but then they don't have to get mean. I think it's like, okay, if you want a little bit of attention, fine. But when you get mean and crazy, that's a different level.
Well, I feel like stand-up comics, porn performers being on like social media as much as we are, and like, yes, we like control our social media. We don't have like 1,000 people like doing everything for us, so we are way more approachable. And that's, I think that's a great side of like the porn industry, where it's like we can actually talk to our fans, like we could communicate. And when we have like the conventions and stuff, like a lot of people turn out because it's always like, I actually get to meet them. And it is an honor. Like, it is great to have someone come up to you and be like, "Dude, your fucking movies are hilarious. I've been watching them for years. Me and my girlfriend love them. I think you're great." And it's like, thank you. Like, it's nice. Like,
So Tommy's specialty is parody porn.
Oh, cool.
acting
Parody
for
acting.
like 5 minutes, and then
And then But it's kind of like what you're saying, though. It's context, right? When you're at a convention or an award show, you're like, okay, you can talk to me here. But when you're just like out regular life, you don't want to hear
You're like with
that.
your kid.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
especially if you're with your kids, you're like,
it's a different-
"Hello."
Yeah, there's like a line. There's
it's
a
getting
line.
more where it's happened more. Like, I was at my supermarket that I go to, like I was with the kids, and the guy was like pushing the broom by, and I'm walking by with them, and I think I asked him, "Where's the macaroni?" Right? And the guy's like, "Oh yeah," and it's like, and and my kid, I was just like, "Hey guys," I kind of like I was like, "Yes, it's me." And he's like, "Oh, you are." I'm like, "Shh." He's like, "Yeah. You should." And I was like, "Yeah." So now every time I go there, I see him. It's like, "How's everything? How's the family?" I'm like, It's good. Like, now it's just become like more mutual and like whatever. So it's not like, "Dude, movie." And it's just like, I just want asparagus. Like, stop. It gets weird. It gets weird when you realize you're being stared at, and when you're being stared at by like guy and like you're with your kids and it's just like you're like eye fucking me right now.
I'm grabbing my phone because I actually had a fan question for you.
Oh.
One of the listeners to be, because we haven't released yet, we will release our series later on, has asked me to ask you about your puppet movies.
It's all right. So it's always been a fantasy of mine because I love the Muppets. I love Muppets Take Manhattan and all that stuff. So I always wanted to do that. And so I bought a few puppets and I was shooting like clips with them. And then I worked one into a scene I did and it was fucking hilarious. And then we did one for Wood Rocket, Puppet Inside Me. And it was like a whole drama, like actual short movie that we did. And it was it actually won an AVN for most outrageous
sex with the puppet?
I did. It was fucking ridiculous. It was me and Goth Charlotte. And
what type of puppet?
It was a girl puppet.
Oh, okay.
So,
was she legally of 18 years and older?
Yes.
Has to be, yes.
Yeah, we had to make that clear also.
Okay.
Very regulated industry.
It was hilarious. I'll send you a safe for trailer clip.
Yeah.
So we had like
Something
multiple
safe.
puppets in it, and it was like a whole thing. It was the storyline was like this puppet company, they're closing down. They're like, we're gonna put all of the last of our money in. It was it
like mannequin with puppets?
No, it was like all puppets. Like we had people doing puppeteers. We had a couch that talked. You know,
I really want to watch this.
It was ridiculous.
I feel like every guest that does our podcast that doesn't know about you is like, I really want to watch his stuff.
Oh,
You're
I
getting
appreciate
new
it.
fans.
Yes. So I haven't done too many, and I have the puppets home. And I remember my son was like, "Oh, can we play with them?" I was like, "Don't touch them. That's Daddy's puppet work. Don't touch them. Don't even look at them because they're
daddies.
mine.
They're dirty
Just
puppets.
leave it at that."
Oh my gosh.
Dirty little slut puppet.
I love the title too. How do you know what's interesting? It's like porn and comedy people are very similar because they're very like we just like to
Very
laugh.
similar.
I know, because they're very vulnerable and they
We
like
put
to
everything
laugh.
out there.
Yeah, and they have good at puns, you know?
Good.
Like-
And I think I've noticed a lot of people in your industry have a very good sense of humor. Very good sense of humor. I think you have to.
no way to be serious.
You have to. Or I will say it till I'm done with this industry and retired. It's ridiculous. The fact that I moved to LA and I make a living having sex
With puppets.
every now and then. But it's
If you're really
silly.
passionate about this, Tommy, I know how to make puppets and I can show you how to make puppets. Because, believe it or not, my best friend from kindergarten to many years in elementary school, her parents were professional puppeteers. And she also went to the one puppet. There's like 2 prestigious puppet colleges in the world, and she went to one of them. And in the 5th grade, they came and taught us how to make puppets. And I can teach you. They're very easy and very high quality puppets, Tommy. If you want to
Consider
expand
it done.
this genre or make some safe puppets for your children to play with.
How about I do that first? So they're not all like, but they're right there and I want to play with them. I was like, don't touch them.
I will come over and teach your children how to make puppets
Done.
as a friend, non-podcast or industry related. And
Cool.
because I've been wanting to make puppets, I've been talking about this, and now this is my chance.
Yes, done. All right.
Everyone's
done.
dreams come true at this table.
Podcast.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. I'm very excited about this now.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
easy.
consider it definitely. I even did for my OnlyFans. I bought one. What I name them? Fuck, I haven't used them in a while and I forgot their names. But I had a big black guy puppet, so I shot a clip on my OnlyFans where I was laying there and he's like, "So I'm here," and then it's like his head comes up and he's like, "Is he sleeping?" And then with the hand, it's just like tap tap. And it was just ridiculous. I was like, "What am I doing?"
I love it. that you add stories to your
I
porn.
try.
It's very important.
I try. I hope we do more puppet porn because I think it's hilarious and the world needs it.
I think we're like excited. Can
Yeah.
we be extras?
Yeah, we played
In
Hot
the
Girls
safe-
in a music
in
video.
the
In the safe part and be like extra. I will make puppets for me and Teresa and we can be our own extras.
Should we go to AVN with puppets?
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
Is that one puppet as a parent? Like, yeah, you want sex with these?
I don't know how to throw my voice though. Do you?
No, I mean, I've never had experience with puppets. I'm very intrigued by it,
Jeff
but never
Dunham is one of the
experienced.
top stand-up comedians in the world, and he does puppets.
Yeah.
So obviously, people love puppets.
Love it. Like Terry
People-
Fader, yeah.
Yeah.
Always love puppets.
Yeah.
Puppets forever.
But it's a hard act.
I think Jeff, he's a clean guy, but I think he makes his puppets say nasty. Not nasty, but racist and
He's a
other.
little racist,
Yeah.
yeah. No, he's a little racist.
I didn't
like,
say it.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at
Yeah,
me.
but he has like Ahmed the puppet, and
Yeah,
then
he has
stuff
Ahmed. He's like a terrorist.
yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, Jeff.
It's not him, it's Ahmed.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's his
Yeah,
go-to.
exactly.
Puppets are great.
They're great. They're great. We just were in a music video playing. How I Met Teresa was I think we were Twitter friends first, and then we played Hot Girl number 1 and Hot Girl number 2 in a YouTube video because that's how great our careers are going. Hot Girl number 1 and Hot Girl number 2.
right.
Are you free? Yes.
we're like, we'll come down.
A video in which we were gorging on donuts. That was the highlight.
The donuts were good.
Did you get a sugar
Yes.
rush?
It was
delicious.
very nice.
Yes,
it was
good.
very nice.
But you and I actually met. I did a comedy contest because I have only done comedy for 1 year, so I entered in the beginners level.
I
And
voted
then,
for her.
Yeah,
and
Rosie
then she
was the
ran
judge.
away. She ran away after.
And shame because I lost. I was like, I lost this. Why am I going to stick around? What am I going to stick around and be like, I lost? You know. It's
Hooray for everyone
I
else.
was like, where is she? I just want to leave. I thought that was very normal reaction to have. I didn't think I should like network with the judges who I lost, you know, who didn't vote for me.
I voted for her, which is why I was trying to find her. Little did she know we would be cast together in Hot Girl number 1 and Hot Girl number 2.
What is explained? I watched the music video. Explain it.
We have no idea.
And
Michelle, I love you. I have no idea what that music video was about.
is that her hair?
No.
That
All right.
wasn't
I didn't
right.
think so. All right. I was like, all right.
Well, this is a funny story. When Rosie walked onto the set, Michelle had her wig on, but it was like her real hair was like sticking out.
It was
of
like
this,
crooked.
like, curly wig. And then Rosie was like, "Do you want to fix that?" And then Michelle had already shot scenes with her hair out, and I was like, "I don't think she can. There would be no continuity."
She's like, it's fine. It's part of my character.
Do you think it's gonna matter?
I know. We're like,
Do you think it's going to matter for a 1-minute YouTube video?
Where did you shoot that?
in Mar Vista, like
Mar
on
Vista,
the
basketball court.
Yeah, basketball court.
Okay.
But the song is about, I guess, being a fed up mom when you don't want to cook dinner. So that was the premise of the
Totally
song.
relate.
And then the
Totally
video was like,
Not related at all.
yeah, because like there was like mention of like shabu shabu in the song.
But we're eating donuts.
in the donuts. Yeah, in the video. So yeah.
I wouldn't.
Hashtag la la life. Hashtag industry people.
Right. We're video
Hashtag
girls.
industry.
We're gonna be in a big video next, like Drake or something.
I met Drake at the Comedy Store, and I couldn't get near him because he had an entourage. It actually looked fake because it was they were so entouragey. Like it was him and then like 5 girls who were literally like following him around like this.
Comedians or girls that came
Like
in with
music
them?
video type hoe
Oh,
girls.
weird.
And it
just,
just-
ready to twerk at the drop of a dime.
And he was there just to watch stand up, and it was just really bizarre. It was like it didn't look real. Like it looked. I don't want to say he hired them because I'm sure they were real groupies, but it looked so fake.
Amazing. It's like a bringer show. He himself is the bringer. If you are friends with Drake, you automatically get 6 people. It's
I don't know. They just. I guess because as a woman, I would never just follow a guy around in sexy clothes. Like they were literally like leechy, I guess. Like they were not. It wasn't like they were like hanging around him like, hey, we're his friends. They were like it was so.
They had to.
It was so over the top, like desperate entourage that they didn't seem real. I was like, because I don't think any dignified woman would do that.
But you know what? He probably did pay them in some way, right? It's probably like I'm not like characterizing. I'm like in drugs and alcohol and probably gifts and stuff. So maybe it's not like a paid like a job.
But they
I'm
were
sure
literally
there's
like hanging on him like leech, like their fingers were. It was just really bizarre. It was really one of the most bizarre things. I've met a lot of celebrities before at the Comedy Store because it's on the Sunset Strip, and sometimes I do a late show there, and I've met a lot of celebrities. I've never seen a celebrity with an entourage like that. It seemed like a music video. It didn't seem real.
Yeah.
Like, where's the camera?
Have you ever seen celebrities with female entourage who are like groupies but just not touching like that?
I've seen people with entourages with people hanging around them,
Like friends.
like friends.
Yeah, but
I'm friends with some pretty big comedians that actually have an entourage, but not grabbing them like that. It was just really bizarre. It didn't seem real. But I mean, living in LA, you see celebrities everywhere. You know, I saw Dawson from Dawson's Creek, James Van Der Beek at the Target on North Hollywood. I saw Tori Spelling at the Ranch 99 in Van Nuys with Dean McDermott.
I like she's at Ranch 99.
Yeah, she's at the Ranch 99. Like grocery shopping.
Like a big bag of rice. That's what she wants.
And she was in full, makeup and hair. And I mean, I guess she's Tori Spelling. She has to go out looking glamorous in case the paparazzi take a picture for Ranch 99.
Yeah, it's like, I can't even go out without fucking makeup.
I gotta let people know I like Asian food.
So it's not that surreal to see celebrities. It's not like they're everywhere, but you see people here and there.
Oh, in LA?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I saw Portia Doubleday on Larchmont the other day walking, and so you just see people, but to see an entourage with people touching him, grabbing him, it was just really bizarre. It didn't seem
Might
real.
have been on ecstasy.
Oh yeah, maybe.
It's like,
The drugs
his
again.
fucking
Yeah.
shirt is so nice. He's like, I know.
Maybe.
Well, P. Diddy he came to the AVNs one year, and I remember it was just like a fucking mob came through. Mm-hmm. And there's people walking, like they're all together and some on the phone, and you're just like...
It was like that. Yeah, they had phones, and it just seemed fake, like a music video.
I'm not talking to anyone because it's loud as fucking here.
They're just using their hands. They don't have a phone.
Hello? Wait, hold on.
Okay, we're totally getting sidetracked. This podcast is supposed to be a sex education podcast, so I do want to ask Teresa some sex-related questions. We've totally gotten sidetracked from puppets to
Sex
improv.
for like 20 minutes.
Okay, Teresa, so I just wanted to know as another fellow... This has gotten bad. Before we wrap up in 15 minutes, I actually want to ask some questions related.
Okay.
So just as an Asian American woman... What was were your parents, obviously you're not taking anything off, but doing the boudoir modeling, doing the hustler writing, are your parents accepting? Are they judgmental? What's the deal?
I think that they're cool with it now.
Are you first generation or are you an immigrant?
I'm first generation.
Okay,
My
so your
parents are
parents
from
are
Taiwan.
immigrants. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's because so I'm in my 30s, and I think that because I'm in my 30s, they're kind of like, well,
like whatever,
right? I feel
She's gonna do what she's gonna do.
Yeah, she's old enough, Because I think if I was still 23 or something, they would be like, you still have a chance in life.
Keep your clothes on.
Keep your clothes on. You could use your brain. And I think now that I'm in my 30s, they're like, you've already shown your potential. There's no more left. It's fine. Just do this. So I think it might be an age thing, right? I really do. I think it's with a certain age, you just stop caring, right? I think it's that because I really think if I had tried comedy or modeling, any of that stuff 10 years ago, yeah, they would not have been nice. But I think because we're older, and then there's been some death in the family, or people have cancer scares, and I think people really got to the point where they're like, life is too short, and so my family's more open.
I have your parents. I'm in my 30s as well, and my dad just yelled at me because he didn't want me to drive in the car by myself. So,
What?
Some people's parents are a little more controlling than others, apparently.
Mine are whatever, do what you want, be happy.
Are you serious?
This is a true story.
Okay, so maybe I'm just lucky. So maybe, yeah.
Did you have a restrictive childhood with
yes.
sex? and sex education?
Very restrictive. So I grew up in Kansas, and there was very few like Asian people in the town. And
Kansas.
so
How did you end up there, Dorothy?
So my parents, my dad, he went to Wichita State University, and that's how he came in this country. And then they
On a
ended
student
up-
visa?
Yeah. So then they just kind of stuck around Kansas, and then we ended up in a small town in Kansas after he opened up a restaurant. And so in that town, it was like he was really controlling because like he was still super Asian mindset then, like you got to succeed, no boys, no boyfriends, no sleepover, usually all
Yeah.
this like rules and stuff. And so even college, he was still a little
So how
crazy.
did you rebel against it, or did you like play into the good girl stereotype? Because I feel like there's a stereotype that like Asian women are there's like okay, first of all, the Asian stereotypes kill me for Asian women because they're like literally bipolar. It's like we're tiger moms, we're controlling, we're submissive. I'm like, those are opposites. I feel like the stereotypes about Asian women are like just really bizarre and really all over the place and based off of racism and other things like that. Obviously, we're people.
Yes.
We have different personalities. Some of us are like this, some of us are not. But did you? It's sad I have to say that, but
you need to remind people we're human beings.
yeah. Did you have any of that? Did you have any guys thinking certain things that you dated because of your ethnicity?
I think definitely like so I didn't date until college. And then when I started dating
Whoa.
in college, it was like, because I went to University of Kansas for undergrad, so it's like there's not a lot of Asian people to choose from. There's not a lot of diversity. So the guys who did date me, they were super like Asiaphile type of guys, like guys who had
like yellow fever.
Yeah, yellow fever. They had a samurai sword. They were applying to the JET program after college. You know, like those kind of guys.
They're like,
right?
I speak Japanese and Chinese. You're like, I don't speak any English.
Yeah, and it was really funny because
like I speak 5 Chinese dialects. You're like, okay,
Yeah, like, I was like,
creepy.
"Ugh."
You like kung fu? Huh?
Yeah. Well, this is what's really funny. So my parents, they still use the word Oriental,
So do
right?
mine.
Yeah, they
So
use the word, and
do
they don't think it's offensive, right? So I didn't know it was offensive growing up. Then when I went to Kansas University, this guy was like, "Hey, that is such an offensive word." He was like a white guy. He like schooling me, and I was like, "I learned
Isn't
this
that
from
the
my
fucking
parents."
worst?
Yeah, it was so weird.
He's like, it's a rug, not a person.
Yes, he actually said that phrase. So that was great. I was like, "Oh, have you talked to him? You've probably met this guy."
You're
His
like,
name was-
I'm actually
his name was
Asian.
Bobby. Yeah, so I mean, I had that experience, and then like I did try. I was more of definitely like a more good girl type of personality, and like my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, and so I did the whole pre-law thing. I was even like the president of the pre-law fraternity. I like interned for like the state representative. I was like super
You're
into
on
it.
track.
Yeah,
Now I know why your parents are disappointed.
yeah, they're super disappointed.
Just
super,
do what you want.
Super disappointed. And then I was like, after I did the internship, I was like, this is really boring. I don't want to live my life like this. And like my parents, they had a restaurant, and when they worked at the restaurant, they were very miserable. And so I was like, I don't want to live a life where I'm just miserable all the time. And so I decided, I was like, I'm going to be a writer. And I applied
At a
for film
Chinese
school.
restaurant? Or-
It was a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, no one in Kansas even knew what Taiwan was. Like if I said I was like, oh, we're Taiwanese, they would be like, Thailand? Like they don't know. So you just say Chinese. It's just the easiest thing to do. And so yeah, like I just didn't want to be miserable. I was like, life's too short. So I had the life's too short mentality when I was young, and my parents didn't develop it until like years later.
Well, at least they developed it.
Yeah, right?
True. They did a 180, so it's like they're cool now.
Do they still have the restaurant?
No. So another thing that happened was that their restaurant was destroyed in a freak flood. And after that, they were like, life's too short. So there's all these like events that happened to them, and then that just kind of changed them.
Well, it's you prepare and be as healthy and everything, and then you get hit by a fucking car because somebody was looking at their
My
phone.
dad has had like multiple like bouts with death, and he still isn't doing the life's too short thing.
Maybe he needs to hang around my parents. I don't know.
My dad literally like has one lung, has one testicle, has like he's like everything's like he's like almost died like multiple times. His like entire platoon in Vietnam like was murdered except for him. Like he's literally like almost died like 20 times. And he's still not like life's too short. He's still like, you can still be a doctor, honey. I'm like, no, I can't. Like, it's over, Dad.
But like they know you're a comedian, and they're like cool with it, right? Or no? I don't know.
I would say that they're quasi supportive.
Okay.
So if you ask them, then they're like, oh my God, we always support her. But behind closed doors, it's
They
like
get you in the room alone.
it's like, honey, when are you going to go to medical school? I'm like,
sending you brochures.
it's like, when are you going to give up comedy? I'm like, I've been doing stand-up for 15 years. It's not going to stop.
Wow.
Yeah. So my
Man.
parents are a little hard-headed.
Do they still live in Kansas?
So this year they all moved to California, and that's kind of like around the same time I started doing stand up. And my parents actually come to my shows. They never laugh at anything, but they sit there. Yeah, they're like, we don't get it. They're like, we like that old man who is the headliner, but you were like, why do you say that? You know? And even my mom
They're like, we don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
like, we don't get it. And like my dad at least understands, like when I'm up on stage, I'm like, you're trying to get people to laugh, so you'll say whatever you need to say. But my mom is like, why can't you make people respect you? And I was like, nobody respects me. I was just like, forget it. It's like, it's not happening in real life. It's not happening on stage.
My mom
It's
says that.
just
She'll be like,
whatever.
you shouldn't say stuff like that on stage. That's very bad. Very
Yeah.
bad. I'm a mom.
God forbid. What would my mom say? Her nails are too long. They're going to scratch her asshole.
Just,
Hashtag truth story.
do your parents know what you do?
Yes. On our first podcast, I talked about it. My dad passed away when I was younger, but my mom was nosy, and somebody wrote a letter saying, hey, this was really good, and I'm glad. I'm going to tell the owners. I was like, I didn't need this letter. So I threw it out. Mm-hmm. And then she went through my trash, and she's like, oh, and then she's like, do you do like sex movies? And I was like, oh my God, this sucks.
You're like puppets, mom. Puppets.
Just puppet. So I told her, you know, and even till this day, she's like, you know, I'll call. Sometimes she'll call and be like, oh, I'm going to work. She's like, oh, okay.
Aww. You make her sound so sweet.
Well, she
Yeah.
is. She's
Yeah.
very soft spoken, and she's like, but she knows, like, she knows I'm a good dad, and like I'm working hard to do so much and whatever I can for them, and as long as I'm happy, I you know. I'm sure that wasn't like, I hope my son becomes a porn star. Like, it's you fucking accept it or you don't, you know? And everybody, my brothers, my sisters, like,
Are they weird? I didn't realize you had siblings.
yeah, I'm the youngest of a brother and two sisters. And we all have 2 kids each. And they all live back in New York and everything. But everyone's very cool with it. Mm-hmm. Nobody says how's work. They just say, how are you and everything. I was like, oh, I'm still working and stuff. And they're like, all right, good. You know, and it's like, that's all they want to know. I never really get into detail.
That's
Anything.
probably
Yeah.
good.
And no one
Yeah.
actually wants to hear about anyone's job, really. It's like, I don't want to hear what a
that's
dentist does all day. Like, shut up. I don't care.
Tell me about the worst teeth you looked at.
Or like, if you're
So
Right?
true,
I
Teresa.
don't want to hear, like, anyone who works in an office, it's so boring. I don't want to hear your story about the report you wrote. It's like, I don't care.
That is a very good point.
I think the best thing is supporting comedy and like the porn. It's just, if you're a parent, support your fucking kids, whatever they do.
Yeah. You know what? I would say that because it's like, it's hard enough as it is. There's so many. This is what I say because I've had people in my family not be supportive. And I'm like, look, first of all, tell me if I'm wrong. We are probably more hard on ourselves than anyone else.
Oh,
just
Jesus,
in general.
yeah.
And everyone is always hardest on themselves. We don't need your negative ass contributing. Right. Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Can I point out your flaws? It's like, yeah, because sure.
It's like whoever you are, right? Whatever you're doing. We are always hardest on ourselves. Even if you're an egomaniac, I'm sure you're harder on yourself. So we don't need other people to chime in with their negativity.
I remember my aunt, I went back home to visit, and I haven't seen her in such a long time. And we were talking, just catching up. And she's like, I saw your Showtime when you hosted. Like, I hosted AVNs.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, just the fact you're saying that. She's like, it was fucking hilarious, your whole song and dance. She's like, I don't watch any of that stuff. But I saw that. And I was like, just thank you. Thank you for just the fact you're saying it in front of me. I really appreciated it. And
That's
it wasn't
really cool.
That's
what do you-
cool.
It
Yeah.
wasn't judgy.
Yeah.
None at all.
It was
None at
acknowledging.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, thank you. Thank you.
I had a funny story where the first time I did a show, I invited my parents and I tried to do a more clean, like what I was talking about. And then another girl came up and she was like so fun and wild and talking about crazy stuff. And then my parents like, we really liked her. She was so free. And I was kind of like, my whole life you told me to be like this, and this. And then this free girl, I was like, shut up. And so after that, I was like, I'm going to be free too. Yeah.
Parents are so like especially older generations, like they're gonna like different stuff. I had a show, I had a great set. My parents were like, oh, you're okay. The headliner that went on after me, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say his name, was one of the most hacky, horrible, cheesy comics. He had like props. He like put his he pulled out a pair of underwear and put it on his head. And my mom's like, oh my God, he was so fun. I just loved him. So it's like, my parents clearly have like the worst taste in comedy, right? Here's the thing. In porn, there's genres. There's fetish, S&M, BBW, whatever. With comedy, people clump it together, but comedy is not. Comedy is just like music. There's different genres. There's country, there's alternative, there's rock, there's classic rock, there's smooth jazz. My parents are like apparently heavy metal people, and I apparently am country. So it's just, we're different genres.
I never heard that, the separation of the way.
There's
like
separation. There's prop comics.
Yeah.
There's people that do satire. There's people that do puns, one-liners.
And puppets.
There's people that do puppets. So to say that comedy is just comedy, I think people don't realize it's not. There's genres of comedy. I'm more of a mainstream comic, what's called mainstream comic. What's really popular right now is alternative comedy. I don't know if you have...
So
yeah,
is
I
that
don't know.
more
Like,
storytelling?
yeah, what's an alternative comic?
So alternative comedy is like a lot of irony, sometimes like it's more out of the box, like more odd. Yeah, there's people that do storytelling. There's storytelling comics. I'm just a boring old mainstream comic. So I just tell jokes, set up punchline, some stories, a little bit of act outs. I'm just a classic old school comic. But there's so many different types of comedy, and people don't realize that. And so sometimes when people like don't like me or like, oh, I didn't think you were funny, whatever, I don't take it personal because I'm like, well, if you took a heavy metal person to a country concert, it doesn't matter if it's the best country singer in the entire world. They're not going to enjoy it. Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Just like if you take someone who's a classical music lover to, a rock concert, it doesn't matter if the Rolling Stones they're not going to enjoy it if they're not a Rolling Stones fan.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how comedy is. So I try not to take it too personal when people are like, oh, I didn't really like you that much, or oh, I liked her better. It's like, they shouldn't say that to my face. But
Yeah, exactly. People need to shut up. We don't care.
people need to shut up. And it is nice sometimes when people are like, oh, you're my favorite, of the show tonight. But it's like, you have to look at comedy as there's different types of comedy.
Yeah.
So you might not be someone's cup of tea, but I might be, and vice versa,
Yeah.
We have to wrap up. So, Teresa, how can people find you?
So I am on social media. I'm on Instagram at Teresa Lo Writer. It sounds like writer, but it's writer because I'm a writer. And then Facebook as well, Teresa Lo Writer. And then on Twitter, it's Teresa Lo _tweets.
Awesome. And Tommy, what do you have going on other than me coming over to teach your kids how to do puppets, to create puppets?
Honestly, the biggest thing was last week. I was on a pilot for a TV show.
Oh,
and
congratulations.
stuff, so-
It was your first feature?
No, I've done a few, but this.
I know your horror movie.
Yeah, I did a pilot before that went nowhere, but it got me into the Screen Actors Guild, so
cool.
that was awesome. And it's a funny story. So I did that, and I got paid a little extra for doing it. I was like, this is fucking awesome. So I took the kids to Disneyland.
Oh,
nice.
Threw down. It's now between like an 8-year-old, 11-year-old, and me. It was like $460.
That's crazy.
for just Disneyland, not even California. So threw all that money out. Was very happy. And I came home and my TV was broken. I was like, you better fucking have enjoyed this.
That's hilarious.
But right now everything's chill. Just working, just getting ready for the holidays. And like yesterday, I did a scene and then I did another scene. So I'm very tired today. So
Well, we can't tell other than the table slamming your.
You needed those mittens.
you gotta put like nails. Just
We'll get puppets on your hands. So it'll be
Good idea. That's awesome. And you have your OnlyFans?
yeah. So if you want to see me be more intimate and solo, you could go to onlyfans.com/Tommy Pistol. On Twitter, it's @TommyPistol. On Instagram, it's official_pistol_page. And I started a YouTube page, which is Tommy Pistol.
Oh
So you can find me all on there.
all in there. Nice.
And guys, as always, I am Funny Rosie on Twitter, Facebook, and Out of the Box Rosie on Instagram. Guys, check out my other podcast, Out of the Box Podcast, where I interview really, really cool people. This has been Dirty Change with Rosie and Tommy.
Woo! This was super fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course.